Welcome to Scream Alive, your channel for exciting and interesting horror stories. Today's story is titled The Frozen Lake. Every winter, my friends Kyle, Ricky, and I have a tradition. We drive out to a small frozen lake a few towns over and walk out onto the ice. It's not some grand event. We just do it for the feeling, the serene, otherworldly silence of being surrounded by nothing but a vast, white expanse under a moonlit sky. There is something about the gentle patter of snowflakes and the stillness of the world that makes you feel like you have a piece of nature all to yourself. It's a kind of peace you can't find anywhere else. Call us weird, but we live for that tranquility. This past winter was no different. It was about 4 months ago, and the temperature had been well below freezing for weeks, so we were confident the ice was solid. I love winter for so many reasons, but the snow is at the top of the list. It creates a soft, diffused light even after the sun sets. On a night like this, with a near full moon hanging above, the world felt less like a place and more like a dream. Kyle was driving his pickup, which handled well in the snow, so he took the wheel. The lake is surrounded by a thin cluster of trees, so we had to park in a nearby lot and walk the rest of the way. It was well after midnight, and the world was completely still. No cars, no animals, no movement at all, just us and the falling snow. We were laughing about something stupid as we walked toward the shore when Kyle, ever the cautious one, picked up a small boulder and tossed it onto the ice. It landed with a solid thud and didn't even crack the surface. We took it as a sign and began walking toward the middle of the lake. We ventured about 100 feet from the shore, stopping to take it all in. Then our laughter died. On the far side of the lake, near the tree line, something large and dark was moving. We froze, our breath hanging in the frigid air. It was hunched over and moving slowly toward the ice. Our minds immediately went to the most logical explanation: a bear. A grizzly in this part of the country in the dead of winter. It was unlikely, but not impossible. The last thing we wanted to do was draw its attention. We stood there, paralyzed, not even daring to breathe too loudly. But as the figure got closer, something felt deeply, fundamentally wrong. The way it walked was all wrong to upright, to human. And there was something trailing behind it, dragging through the snow. Then it straightened up completely, and in the strange, diffused light, we all realized the truth at once. It wasn't a bear, it was a person in a bear suit. What the hell? Kyle whispered, his voice tight with disbelief. My own mind was a whirlwind of confusion and terror. Why would anyone be out here in a bear suit? The figure kept moving toward the ice, dragging a rope attached to something behind him. As he got closer, we saw it more clearly, a small, black bag. It looked like a garbage bag, but smaller, and it was unnervingly heavy, judging by the way it dragged a deep furrow in the snow. A primal instinct screamed at me to run, but my body felt locked in place. I needed to know what he was doing. I needed to see what was in that bag. Ricky and Kyle seemed to be grappling with the same morbid curiosity, and then the scene got even stranger. The man stopped, unzipped the suit, and stepped out of it, revealing a normal-looking man underneath. He wasn't particularly big or intimidating, but there was an unsettling stillness to his movements. He bent down and picked up a large rock, a dark shape against the pristine snow. Then he knelt down and began to slam it into the ice, again and again. The sound was a dull, rhythmic thud that echoed across the silent lake. It wasn't the sound of a rock breaking ice, but of a heavy object trying to shatter a solid surface. It was a chilling sound, and I swear I could feel the vibrations through the soles of my boots. He was trying to break through the ice, and the implications of that were terrifying. Ricky tapped my shoulder, and I turned to see him and Kyle slowly, silently backing away toward the shore. Without a word, I followed. We tried to move as quietly as possible, but every crunch of our boots on the snow felt deafening. We'd barely made it a few yards when a voice, surprisingly clear and calm, yelled from behind us, "Hey!" I didn't look back. I just turned and ran, my legs pumping, my only thought to get off that ice. The cold air burned my lungs, and the snow made every step a struggle. I didn't know if he was chasing us, if he had a gun, or if he was just watching us run, but in that moment, panic took over. We finally reached the edge of the lake, gasping for breath, and stumbled back to the car. We piled into Kyle's truck, and he peeled out of the lot immediately. The silence in the car was heavy. We all knew what we had seen, but none of us had an explanation that made a lick of sense. Kyle, trying to be rational, suggested he was just dumping trash. But who wears a bear suit to dump trash in the middle of a blizzard? Ricky, the darker of the three of us, suggested it was a body, but the bag was too small. We replayed the scene over and over in our minds, but every theory felt more absurd than the last. I'm thinking about it now because my mom was watching the local news the other day. A story came on about a missing child from a nearby town, a boy who had disappeared around the same time we were at the lake. I know it's probably just a coincidence, an unfortunate alignment of timelines and events. But every time I close my eyes, I see that dark figure, the dragging bag, and the eerie, rhythmic pounding on the ice. I can't help but wonder if our winter ritual led us to witness something far more sinister than we could have ever imagined. By the time you're reading this, we'll have reported our sighting to the police. I don't know what they'll find, or if they'll find anything at all. But I know one thing for sure, the frozen lake will never be a place of peace for me again. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel.